I just finished reading a book by John D'Souza called Clear Hearers. I loved it. I loved it because he has had supernatural experiences. He was an FBI agent for many years, and they used to always use him for the paranormal situations that would come along, like maybe demon possession, hauntings, cases they couldn't figure out because he has a lot of psychic ability. And he talks in this book about something called clear hearers. And if you're a clear hearer, that means you've heard a voice that has maybe told you what to do or given you guidance or insight. And it can come to you just like a human voice. For many people, it sounds like their own voice. I've heard the voice a few times in my life, and it's always a male voice that I hear, a very assertive male voice who gives me direction. It's happened quite a few times. I'll give you some examples. I've told this story before. I was living in New York City in Gramercy Park by myself with my little dog, and a male voice spoke to me when I woke up one morning. It felt like it was to my left, not in my head, but like somebody was actually to my left, but there was nobody in the room with me. And I heard this voice say, "You're leaving New York by the end of March." Well, it turned out I did leave New York by the end of March, even though I had no plans to at that point. I think it was February when I heard the voice. My landlord needed me to leave because the building was going co-op and he wanted to buy it. So I left. Another time, I was having an acute appendicitis attack on a layover in California at my brother's apartment. And I knew it was my appendix. It was on my right side. I was sweating profusely. It was the worst pain I had ever felt. And someone started praying for me. And I heard the voice again. It was over to the left. And I felt this orangey glow come all around me. And the voice said, "Love that man with all your heart." And I knew who it was talking about. It was someone I wasn't really thinking about that much, but he was causing me some problems in a living situation. He was interfering with me getting out of a lease and moving into a different building. So that problem had manifested in my body as negative energy and emotion, which had, coupled with a few other situations I was in, had brought on this very negative subconscious state of mind that created poison in my appendix. And as soon as I heard that male voice, once again over to my left, telling me to love that man with all my heart, I released him. I let it go. I felt an adjustment. I knew that I was healed. I still had to stay in California for several more days before I could get back to the East Coast because I was very weak. I got back. I went to medical at Kennedy Airport to get myself back into flying. I had to be released from medical, and the doctor said, "You did have an appendicitis attack, and it could have killed you. You should have gone to the hospital." Well, I still have my appendix. That was many decades ago. Once you have a spiritual healing, it's permanent. You don't have to worry about it ever again. Another time I heard the voice, I was kind of like in between things to do. I'd finished writing a book. That project was over. I had been giving seminars all over the country for 5 years, teaching people how to get down to the alpha level. And I was lying in my bed sleeping one night around 2, 3 in the morning. The voice showed up once again, male voice, and it said, "Go work part-time at the Christian Science Church." I went to the computer. They were looking for tour guides with the kind of qualities that I had. I'd been studying Christian Science for years. I'd had many spiritual healings, and they wanted tour guides part-time. I went and applied, told them my story about how I heard this voice that told me to come and work there. And I worked there for about 6 years, giving tours to people from all over the world, which is very enlightening. When you get into conversations with people from all over the planet, you learn so much about the planet and the people on it, because we're all the same, but we're all so different culturally and the way we think, different religions, different programming, different mindsets. So that was very, very enlightening. And that was another time I heard the voice. I love the way John D'Souza calls it clear hearing. He claims that only a small percentage of humans actually hear the voice, like it's a person talking to them. The still small voice is always whispering to us, giving us intuitive guidance. Spiritual sense is part of our being. But every now and then, if we're getting off of our path, or we need to have kind of a redirection, that voice can come through and tell us exactly what to do. I've met other people throughout my life that have heard the voice. One time I was talking to a woman in New York who was a stockbroker. She was very spiritual. And she said the voice told her, get out of this cab now. She got out of the cab, got the driver out. The car blew up or, burst into flames or something. It would have been bad if she'd been in the cab. The voice knew. This is the other interesting thing about the voice. The voice knows the future, the past, the present, all at the same time. Because in the higher realm where your soul resides, in the higher dimension, there is no time. So, of course, the voice can give you guidance as far as your future goes, because it knows exactly where you should be heading. And of course, we can always take detours. We have free will. When the lessons in life come up, whatever they may be, and there's plenty of them here, we need to either transcend it, neutralize it, make peace with it, somehow work with it in order to move ourselves ahead instead of going backwards. There is no retrogression. You're always moving forward, but sometimes you can take a long rest or a long detour and get off the path for a while. But that voice, if it comes through, will get you back on it. So I wanted to share with you some of the insights I've had about clear hearing, because I know many people are called schizophrenic if they hear a voice. That's a different kind of voice. Sometimes if you're hearing voices telling you to do bad things in your head, that's not good. But if you hear a voice that is loving, giving you good direction, telling you things that you need to know out of the blue, like sometimes people are driving their car and they'll hear a voice telling them to turn the steering wheel or, go in a different direction, and they avoid an accident. The voice is amazing. Be open to it. Be receptive, because you never know when it might come through and give you the kind of guidance you're looking for.